he was the first person I approached because I felt like we were going to have like some type of vibe or whatever. That vibe switched when he heard my GPA. He said, well, essentially it's not 3.8, and I'm sure God's going to do great things for you in life, but he's not going to be doing them here. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Thought Diet channel. Today I am going to be talking about how I went through college, struggled for 4.5 years, and was blessed to walk out after not being able to get an internship in any of the 2 summers I tried with a 6-figure job that I actually started 3 months before I graduated. So unlike the previous videos that I have posted where it was like a how-to and a step-by-step, of course, this type of story is not one that was very linear or you do this and this will happen, you do this, this will happen. This is very much a faith-based story, and I will not be able to give you guys everything that happened in the 15 or 20 minutes this video will probably be, but over time as the channel progresses, my goal is to give the stories that has led up to this moment. So, but it is true. I went to school, changed my major, was in the STEM fields, and I had a very low GPA. For the most part, I was able to keep my GPA around 2.7 or 2.6, and at the university I was going to, that's like a B- average. However, I had a really bad semester. My third year, the fall semester of my third year, in which I failed every final exam, I believe. I'm gonna move this chair so it stops making that noise. But in which I failed every final exam that semester. And I got a 1.3 GPA that semester. From that point, my GPA was not really coming back, and that dropped me from a 2.6 to like a 2.2. So over the last year or two, I was able to bring it up to a 2.3 or 2.4. Now, a little background about me. I was never someone in college who partied that much, particularly at my school. The parties that were predominantly black cost like $7 to $15, of which I did not have to be giving to a party. So I also don't drink or smoke. So me going to a party was just listening to music, hang out with friends, and paying $7 to do that was not something I did often. I typically elected to play basketball or something like that. So I spent a lot of time in the library. I spent a ton of time getting tutored. Again, in one of my previous videos about my high school experience, I mentioned how one of the ways I got a high GPA in high school was spending a lot of time in tutoring. I was not that person that could just do everything easy, even in subjects I was really good at. So I did the same approach in college. I didn't go to office hours my first semester, and I didn't really have a lot of guidance to follow in terms of which courses to take. So I was put in some rough situations my first semester, some that were my fault, some that were really me getting screwed. Again, there will be more videos on that to come that will hopefully help you all avoid those things. So I did not really have a huge support system around me at the university until probably my second year, once my GPA was already pretty low, and I had already lost one of my scholarships because my GPA was not in the requirement. So my second year, I spent a ton of time really just, as some people say, in the lab, like on my grind. I worked so hard second year. I've typically been a person over my years in college where if anyone needed anything, no matter what time, they could call me. If there was a girl that needed to be picked up from a party and dropped off, I was a huge advocate and proponent of trying to eliminate the amount of women who would be sexually assaulted on campuses. So if anyone needed to call me, I tried to be like a hotline where I could go pick up people and drop them off safely, and they didn't have to worry about anything like that. So I was that person. And second year, for the one semester that I just really went for it, I was not super available for calls like that. I was not super close to friends because I was just completely focused on my grades. And what I learned from that, it culminated into me almost hitting a 3.0 GPA. And the thing that kept me from the 3.0 is one of my classes had a 10% group project grading scale. So 90% was based on what I did and what the professor saw. The other 10% was based on what people in the group felt like you did or how they wanted to grade you. I, of course, was never in the game of like trying to compete with other students by lifting my GPA and lowering theirs and therefore like having a better ranking in the class. So I just voted like everyone gets their 10%, even though it was clear everyone didn't do all the work. I did the whole final project for that class. There was two girls, there was two white girls, there was an African dude, and there was me. And the African dude did not vote, which I told the professor, and he didn't really care. And between the two white girls, the average I got was a 5 out of 10. And I was appalled because there had never been any issue, and I had done all my work, and I had receipts of all of our conversation and everything. The professor wouldn't even look at them. And he said, well, whatever they grade you is what they grade you. And I was like, well, I didn't even have a fair grade because I gave everyone a 10. So everyone, even the guy who didn't even vote, he didn't even submit that assignment, is going to get a higher grade than me. And, I don't think that's fair. He said, well, there's nothing I can do. So when I had that moment where I was realized like I gave everything I could to this class and to all these classes, I didn't sleep that much unless I was preparing for a test, and I tried to get more sleep then. I would prepare for a test a week or 2 weeks out. I handled it as best as I could. I gave it my all, shut down a lot of other extracurricular activities, and saw that it ended not on me missing a test, failing a test or something like that. It ended on other classmates grading me, not being straight up with me in a class that was about entrepreneurship, and I was in the engineering school. These two students weren't even in the engineering school. So to see me not hit that 3.0 from that class, because that was the last one to submit grades and that was all I needed, that disparity was different between an 89 and what was like a 87 and a 92, which in that class was different between B and an A. So shifted my whole GPA. I was hot. Or I think it was a B plus and an A. I was very hot. So with that said, that taught me something. It re-shifted my focus to being at the school, to focus on the opportunities I could get from the school, focus on the people, most importantly, focus on God, be myself, learn myself, and handle my grades, but not treat my grades with the focus, that they are God, not make my grades or anything else the God of my life ever again. So from that point on, I would still like take care of business. I would study for my tests and stuff like that. I've never been a good test taker. It's just in high school, the tests don't have as much weight. In college, they can be 70% of your grade. So even if you do all your homework and everything like that, was never a good test taker, and ended up staying around that 2.6, 2.5 area, which is like right around a C plus, B minus. That's where I was. Then I had that one semester, I had a breakup during finals of my third year fall semester. The breakup was literally the night before 3 finals. I failed every one of them, and 1.3 GPA there. All that goes to say is because I was already struggling, I really struggled getting an internship as well. Also, I'm a quasi first gen student. My mom did do night school to get her both her undergrad and her master's degrees, but my mom never was on campus and my dad did not go to college. So I was the first person in my family to actually go away to school, to go through a first year, second year, third year thing, not take online classes or not take night classes or something like that. Like just, that's all I did. So also props to my mom because she somehow got her degree with Dean's List 4.0, 3 kids, full-time job, including 4 hours commuting daily. And as a kid, I never knew that that was what she had to do. So she had a great attitude about it too, which is, I think, a huge difference between someone who does that and like, oh, I do all this, and someone who does that and they're cooking food for you and they're still loving you, and even helped me get advanced in math as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old to 10-year-old when she would be home. I never knew my mom was doing all that. Props to my mom. To me, she's really a superhero. So anyway, I'm going through all these things. Never got an internship. Then I'm going to skip a couple steps here because I'll explain these things later, again, as I have more specific stories as the channel goes on. But it comes around fourth year, my senior year, and I go to the job fair. And the first job fair I go to, there's this company, and they essentially said their company stood for Give God the Glory. I'm not going to say the whole company, but if you know, you know. And the person was looking at my application or looking at my resume. He said, oh, I see like you were a president for a Christian organization. He said, that's great, you know, and you're an engineer, that fits well in our company. What's your GPA? So I told him my GPA. He said, well, we only take a minimum of 3.8 GPA. So, and the crazy thing is, he was a younger black dude. His hair was spun and everything. So he was the first person I approached because I felt like we were going to have like some type of vibe or whatever. That vibe switched when he heard my GPA. He said, well, essentially it's not 3.8, and I'm sure God's going to do great things for you in life, but he's not going to be doing them here. And as a first interaction, that kind of hit me in my face. I was not really prepared for that. So the next person I talked to, I believe they were more civil engineering, but I was curious to see if they had any positions for my line of work. And instead of answering that question, he said, why are you talking to me? Literally at the job fair, he said, why are you talking to me? So those were my first two interactions. Shout out to my friend EJ, who walked by me later in like khakis and a normal collared shirt, like a polo shirt. And I was in a full suit and everything, right? He was like, you know what? If they won't take me like this, then I don't need to go there anyway. And that was a good reminder to be myself and not be trying so hard. And it also was a huge pick me up. He listed like, hey, go check out these 5 or 6 other companies. You know, I think you'll have better communication with them. They were a lot cooler. So I talked to those companies, and that built my confidence back up. So huge shout out to him, because sometimes you need a friend to pick you up like that. And I went to go talk to them, and nothing really came of that job fair. The second job fair I went to, I skipped one because that one had left such a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, forget this. The second one I actually attended, there was this company that was a realty company, and I go there, and it's an engineering fair. So most engineers focus on going to Facebook, Google, any huge company that most people know, they focus on there. I mean, the line was going out of the basketball court. That's how big of a focus was on these companies. And this realty company was sitting there. There was maybe one student at the table. I've always been interested in real estate. I was like, hey, why not? They're here at the engineering fair. Let me go see what they're talking about. It turns out a year before, I had taken a risk with my courses, and I took a course that was for seniors my junior year, and was going to have to take the course for my junior year, senior year. I ended up taking that in senior year and didn't do well, so I had to retake it, which is another reason I graduated in 4.5 years instead of 4 years. But it was all worth it, because at this point, like I said, we were seniors. No one else in the senior class had taken that course. It was in React development. So when my resume came across and they saw I had React experience, they were like, you know, and that ended up being a huge blessing. And again, I made that decision based off talking with God, and felt confident that it was time to take that leap of faith to take that course instead of the course that was on my typical schedule. Long story short, they like my resume. The person at the career fair says he's going to submit my resume to the company and kind of push it. So I'm sitting here waiting for the interviews, and I see I didn't make the first cut for the interviews, and now I'm confused, because I'm like, I thought he pushed my resume. How God has it worked, I guess enough people didn't qualify or didn't give that company the time of day to go to their interview. And I ended up coming off the wait list and went through the whole process of interviewing, made it to the super day, and I was selected to go to the company. And the first thing that I remember is when I was going to the super day, I saw the hotel. It was nice. That was one of the first ones I had room service. I really was enjoying myself. It was a huge blessing. And I prepared all night. And the time that I didn't have internships, what I decided to do was work on making mobile applications with the React that I had learned. So my whole work experience on my resume was the apps that I had worked on building. And I didn't get really far, but I did learn how to design on my own and then work on coding them so I could understand them quite well. That's what we talked about in my interview. My interview went by faster than literally anybody else's interview. Fast enough that I was walked around the building and shown like, hey, this is where the gym is. This is where the cafeteria is. These are the perks, what have you. And there was a black dude in the cafeteria and I was like, yo, what's up? And the white lady that was walking me around was like, do you know him? As the dude waved back, I was like, what's up, bro? And I was like, no, I don't know him. And I think that's always cool. I would say, no matter who you are or where you are, especially for black people, like if you see a brother over there, say what's up. Don't act like you're too good for anybody. So anyway, we go through that. I thought it was bad that I got out early. Turns out I got the job. I was offered 6-figure salary with a $15,000 signing bonus. And
First 8-figure, that's my type. That's my type. That's my type.
I was able to save, and it helped put me in a very good financial position. I also, like I said, I did lose a scholarship, but how God orchestrated everything, I still was able to graduate with no debt. I almost ran out of money for rent. I almost ran out of money to take my last class. God made every break that I needed, God provided. And I prayed tremendously before I even went to the school. And there was a lot of times where I was like, maybe I heard wrong, because there was a lot of doubts I had. There was a lot of issues I had at the school. Again, all of that will be talked about at some point. But God was faithful. I got that job with a 2.3 GPA, a job that was higher paying than most people that I knew who had 3.5s, 3.6, 3.7s, and had multiple internships, had given away their whole summers to work for other companies. I make this video, one, to introduce myself as someone who is not the perfect student. I'm not the person that was like, oh yeah, I got a 3-point-some GPA, and then I also had offers from Harvard to go there for grad school, and Google wanted. I didn't have that. I was disrespected. I was asked why I was even talking. Even in my classes, my 4th year, I was in office hours, and the professor told me, when I asked a question, the professor responded, are you supposed to be in this class? And spent the next 5 minutes questioning if I had the requirements to be in the class. There was 8 other students in there. I was the only black student. There was about 6 or 7 white students. No one spoke up, but the professor went and badgered me about whether or not I belonged in the class. So coming from a background where I was pushed, questioned, treated unfairly, now there was definitely mistakes I made, which I definitely owned up to and learned from. But there was also some times where it was very clearly me being treated wrong or not having support or what have you. But I had God on my side, and that's all that you really need. I'm not going to say it's going to make life easy at all, and it may be stressful if you don't really give all your problems to him. It can be very scary, but he had my back, and boom, changed my life. So hopefully this will encourage any of you who either haven't done well in high school, feel like you don't have the support, feel like people don't see you, whether that's literally, whether that's they don't see what you offer, they don't see the work you put in, whatever it is. I pray that this will be used to help push you, but also for my people who are very, very talented and very good at what you do, who understood all your material, who are so focused on school. I hope this channel will help expand your thoughts beyond go to school, get good grades, graduate, make money, have a nice house, have a nice car, have a wife or husband or whatever, and then boom. Because what people don't finish when they give those pipe dreams is have a house, have a car, have to work through debt your first 3 years, have to deal with someone who doesn't love you in your house that you're now committed to for the rest of your life, walk outside into the car and realize you are somehow in a place with multiple human beings, but you're still alone. They don't mention that. They don't mention how you could be an extremely successful doctor and get paid $400,000, but if that is not your purpose here on earth, you will not feel fulfilled doing that, even if you're saving lives. They don't mention how you could be even the next Steve Jobs from a success standpoint, but have your family hate you. They don't mention that. So in Thought Diet, we're gonna address, hey, maybe if your calling is only in a position where you make $40,000 a year, maybe that's your happiest, most peaceful, most joyful self. And at the end of the day, would you rather be happy, at peace, with joy, where you're not really bothered by anything and you're content where you are, you're still thriving to be better and to keep growing, but you don't feel like there's something missing? Would you rather be there, or would you rather have all the money, have all the cars, have all the girls or guys or whatever, and feel like there's something still missing? Now, if you have all those things and there's nothing missing, excellent. That's lovely. What I saw a lot at the school I went to was, even from the time I got there, why did you come here? Oh yeah, I just want to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I want to be rich. And it was like, okay, well, why do you want to be rich? So I can have a house and car. What after that? And I think a lot of people we look up to, and then we get surprised that they're depressed and that they hate life, is because we've been pitched this idea that that's enough, and that's nothing if you don't have the things that really matter, which is love, which is joy, which is peace. So we're going to be addressing all of that. The goal of the channel is really to bring together a community of people from all different aspects and challenge what we think in the day-to-day. See if we focus so much on food diets, see if we can improve what we listen to, what we see, and therefore what we do. If we can improve our quality of life no matter what circumstance. That's what we're working on at this channel, especially for the younger generations coming up. So I thank y'all for rocking with me. If you made it to the end of this video, please like, subscribe. There's going to be far more coming out. There's going to be far more about this story coming out, and it's going to be a movement. So I love y'all. Y'all have a great day. Peace.